This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in San Jose at the California Democratic Party Convention. You heard it here. Ed Hernandez, Dr. Ed Hernandez, Senator Ed Hernandez is running for Lieutenant Governor of our great state of California. That election will be held in 2018. Dr. Ed, Senator, why have you decided to make a run for Lieutenant Governor of our great state?
Well, first of all, I love being a public servant. And I think the next step for me is to serve at that capacity because there's a lot of work I want to get done with education, bring more business to the state of California, and make a big difference in our great state, especially in policy.
So let's talk about the actual position of Lieutenant Governor. I think some perceive that there isn't a lot of defined responsibility for that job. I have learned otherwise, especially as it relates to boards and commissions. So talk to me about what boards and commissions Lieutenant Governor serves upon and why that really matters.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's an incredible job because it allows me the opportunity to have a voice, to bring business to California, but more importantly, the boards you're talking about, some of the biggest and most important, the UC Board of Regents, the CSU Board of Regents. And if you think about the UC Board of Regents, we have one of the best university systems in the state that we have to make sure we're going to keep up with this new economy and make sure we get kids that are going to be able to compete. The Lands Commission.
That's key. I mean, the State Lands Commission is so important. Explain what it is and why being on that commission is powerful.
Well, I wouldn't say powerful.
But you know what I'm getting.
But yes.
But it's an important position. I put it in quotes. I did put it in quotes.
To deal with how we're going to be doing our oil, the oil reserves, the coast, protecting the coast. I mean, these are all important issues that we need to make sure that we protect and make sure, more importantly, that we have a strong lieutenant governor that has a voice within that.
And I want to talk about your statement with regard to luring business into our state. The current Lieutenant Governor, Gavin Newsom, he has been out and about. I've noticed that. He goes to Texas. He goes to places that are trying to pluck business away from us. Explain why that fits. Why does that model work of the Lieutenant Governor being kind of the champion for business in California?
Because that's the role, and they actually are challenged and tasked to be business development.
I see.
And being a business owner myself.
Oh, yes.
And understanding the need to make sure that California continues to grow. Why aren't we out in other states? Why do you keep hearing about Texas trying to draw businesses to California? We should be going the other way around. And if you look at California, there are still more businesses coming in. The economy is improving. The budgets are increasing as far as our state budget. I mean, this is a great state to do business, and I would be the perfect individual to be able to say that in other states and bring it to California.
And I do want to drill down on that issue, because it's easy to say that California is a high-tax state, high-regulation state, but if you really drill down, and I'm the dork and nerd that did that, when you look at taxes, we really aren't that high a tax state, especially on the corporate side. We have a lot of tax incentive programs. We're kind of in the middle. But when you look at regulations, sir, it is hard to deny that our regulatory environment is pretty severe. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I agree, and I don't disagree. But I think that's something that needs to be done at the policy level. And look at all these entities that have all these powers to regulate businesses per se.
Right.
But, here's an interesting comment that I heard Jerry Brown once said when he was at the Democratic caucus meeting one time. And he said, we're overregulated. He goes, the economy in this state is so big, regulations are like rocks in a stream. There's just so much going through it, they're going to find their way through. I mean, this is such a great state from the environment. You've got educational systems here. You've got opportunity to do high-tech business. People want to come here. Money's going to come here. Yes, regulations. It's a problem, but
that's part of the irony. You
way.
mentioned the environmental nature of our state and the beautiful coast and the beautiful mountains. Right. At some level, I feel as if we in California are schizophrenic. We love our environment. We want to protect our environment, and that means more regulation per se, but yet on the other hand we say we're overregulated. So how do we balance the desire for a positive economic environment with a positive environmental stewardship?
I mean, you can do it, and I'm going to use this as an example. I'm going to guess in the 80s, do you remember smog alerts?
Oh, okay. It was hard for me to walk home from school because I couldn't breathe.
Okay, so when I went to graduate school, married my wife, came back, you couldn't see the San Gabriel Mountains from where we lived. Now you can.
Right.
Yes, okay. gas might be slightly higher.
Right.
But I think there's a price to pay to make sure that we have clean air, clean water, and make sure we have a great environment. Because look at, the freeways. You have a lot of problems with asthma, especially in poor communities. So that has to be a priority for us in the state of California, and you have to have that fine balance where we don't go too far.
So what about, for example, CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act? That is one piece of legislation that in some ways has done a tremendous amount to protect our beautiful state. On the other end, many folks have felt that it's been used as a weapon in litigation. Even Governor Brown has said it's the Lord's work to reform CEQA. Yet we don't see much CEQA reform unless it comes with a football stadium attached.
No, I don't disagree. And it's like you said, it has its pluses, but it does definitely have its minuses. Unfortunately, there's some individuals or groups that'll actually use CEQA as a way to stop a project.
Right.
And I think if we as policymakers want to take a look at it, we should look at how we're going to make sure that only the best of CEQA takes effect.
So do you feel as if we will see some form of regulatory reform? Can you, as Lieutenant Governor, champion that? If you want to, maybe you don't.
I mean, I can always have a voice. Unfortunately, I can't move or introduce legislation, but I can always speak about it and talk about that and make sure that that's an issue to bring more jobs over to California.
So let's talk about running for Lieutenant Governor. You represent about 1 million folks currently. That's as big as some states, actually, but a fairly compact district. You will be running in a state of 38 million people, 58 counties. It sounds like a lot of fun to be able to campaign through up and down the state, but explain how you do it.
Well, running statewide is a lot different than running locally. However, the dynamics of any campaign are the same. Unfortunately, it's money is the mother's milk.
Right.
So obviously raising money. But the other thing, there's a basic element that people forget. And if you look at multimillionaires who think they can just run and win, and this state is littered with millionaires.
That have lost.
That have lost. And it's just, going to those barbecues, shaking hands, and you say, okay, well, there's a lot of people, a lot of state. But that's why I'm here in this convention, meeting delegates who I don't have relationships with, starting 3 years early. I'm starting to do trips in different parts of the state. I've been to the Central Valley where I visited a packer, a farm. We did, I'm visiting all of the state of California.
I want to get a sense from you because I'm so lucky that as part of this job I get to travel up and down California. So I have some sense of the variety of our great state. What's your sense? Are we as disparate as people think, or is there kind of a thread that comes through California, east, west, north, south?
I mean, there's obviously a clear distinction between large cities, coastal being a little bit more liberal, central being a little bit more conservative. But I think at the end of the day, everybody's still a Californian. And if you look at, say, the Central Valley, it is the largest industry that we have for our egg industry.
Well, it's a salad bowl to America.
To America.
Right.
And it's crucial that we make sure that they're, successful, that, the growers are successful, and we look at how we're going to make sure that the coast is protected at the same time. And California is just a very interesting place. And what's so interesting about California is it's a difficult state to govern, and the reason why it's difficult is because of its diversity, but yet it's that diversity that makes it so special.
You heard it here. His name is Ed Hernandez. He is a member of the California State Senate. He is a doctor of optometry. Did I say that right?
Yep, that's right.
He is now running for lieutenant governor of our great state. That election will be held in June
of 2018.
And then November of 2018. I'm at the California Democratic Party Convention in San Jose, California. We thank you so much for watching Charter Local Edition.